From your own comments there, we had a certain amount of good exposure, but there was a little bit of bad timing when the punk thing came in, which meant bands of what we were trying to do was push aside from the music business to allow the punk come through, and in that time I think we missed out because of that. Well, I mean, we were fortunate to be involved with Reddington's Rare Records, which was a focal point for a lot of people that was following music and buying records. And there were a lot of live venues still in Birmingham at the time, in that period. So we built a strong following leading up to those years. And it, as you said, it was vibrant. I think it was vibrant all over the country because you got bands like Def Leppard and other parts of the country which were coming through, and Iron Maiden, which were coming through from a new generation. Mm-hmm. And I personally believe that different generations want their own thing to idolise, whereas the established bands at the time, even your Led Zeppelin, were quite worried how things were developing because the punk had changed music's direction. Mm-hmm. That got tired by the music business and allowed the new wave of British heavy metal to creep through and push through, and consequently I think the younger generation have got their own idols to follow.
The way the new wave come through after the punk thing, you know, I think people got fed up with punk because they come out of the woodwork all of a sudden and saturated the market. They want something different again.
And because the new wave of British heavy metal, a lot of them were younger kids, had got that energy, whereas the previous heavy rock bands as such weren't particularly fast. Although it was heavy music, it wasn't particularly fast. Well, the new wave of British heavy metal was a bit more up tempo than the old school.
And Birmingham was where it all started. All the heavy metal was from there, because you got all the industries there, you know, metal. And was it Steppenwolf?
Yeah.
Did a song about heavy metal.
On the newcomers.
It was a bit hard for us to understand at one stage because we got labelled as new wave of British heavy metal, although we preceded that. And I think one of the reasons why we got labelled with that is because at a particular time we were playing quite fast. The material we were playing, the live album was quite quick, which we didn't realise until later years. We've re-listened to it and suddenly said, "Whoa, we didn't realise we were playing that fast." And I think that was the connection with the new wave of British heavy metal, because basically the title we put on us was heavy rock, and it was the press that gave us the new wave of British heavy metal, and we were quite surprised when we got that. When we did the Stand Up and Fight album, we were pushed into doing that quite quickly. MCA, out of the blue, decided that they wanted to sign us and give us about 2 or 3 weeks to get into the studio to do it. And previous the times we had been recording, we'd spent a reasonable amount of time on doing overdubs and things when we were recording. When we went to with Derek Lawrence was very down the line, recorded what you've got and didn't want to do any overdubs or anything. So we were a little bit unhappy about that and didn't appreciate at the time what he'd actually got on tape. But at the same time, when we signed and did that deal and recorded it, MCA signed quite a few bands under the heading of New Wave of British Heavy Metal. Too many bands to give a dedicated effort to. So nearly, I think there was 4 to 5 bands that they signed at the time, and they weren't the only record company. There was other record companies trying to copy each other because of this new wave was creeping out of nowhere. So that initial impact lost its speed quite quickly, and MCA had gone through political problems within themselves as well. So it wasn't long before the company just folded the whole thing in, which was upsetting for us because we were making headlines in Europe, Germany in particular, and then they pulled the rug from underneath us. But you Def Leppard and
Tigers of Pain,
that was on with us as well. And Iron Maiden were with different companies, and they had probably a better management structure than what we got at the time. So we actually sort of lost momentum, and it was difficult because at that particular time as well, we'd all been doing it for quite a few years as professional musicians, and the money aspect come into it because we got mortgages and families to try and look after. So that's when I think the rock set in for us to take a break.
So any connections with bands from the US? Do you have any?
Rush.
Rush,
we did
Canada.
Rush.
Yeah, we did a tour with Rush, like, you know, that was interesting, nice bunch of blokes, and it was pretty good, you know.
Well, I mean, we've all in different periods all followed bands from all over the world, and previous to doing the first album, we were, you know, like a copy band as such at that particular time, and we used to play a lot of American band material anyway because we liked that, not just the West Coast sort of tinge to it, but the heavy rock side of it, which was punchy. That's what we've always played.
His eyes are shining, fire in the sky. See his face is smiling, laughing in his mind. Wildfire, smoking.
And consequently, when we got involved with Tony, Ione, and the Sabbath thing, that opened up another view for us in music. And when we toured with them, obviously we was like anybody who tours with anybody that's famous, you just take in some of that vibe, and if you get off on it, you can't help but go in that direction.
We were supporting Rush on the tour, and Geddy Lee came over and said, "I remember you from the Abbey Road Tavern." I thought, he's done more tours than I've ever had dinners, but he remembered me from there, you know. And they were a great bunch of men, you know.
And I think heavy metal, in lots of ways, is an expression of different age groups. And once you're into it for the rest of your life. You might take in other modes of music, but heavy metal in particular, I think people are in it for the long run.
Oh yeah. So many people turn up at these gigs from all over the place, all over the world, you know. I mean, like, we've just found out that 2 people from Norway have come over to see us on Saturday. And you think, well, you know,
that sense of camaraderie.
yeah.
Well, that's another good thing about it, isn't it, really? It's almost like a family, if you like. And everybody seems to get on with everybody because you're all focused on the one thing.
It's exciting music, get up and go. Yeah.
A bit of aggression. Well, primarily, yeah, we're just too stubborn to give up.
Well, I said to somebody the other day, the only time I'll pack up is when I'm in a box.
There we go. I mean, it's like most music, whatever style you change, once it's in your blood and you're playing it, it's hard to give up.
After all those years, why give up?
Yeah.
There's no reason, right?
No,
Just carry on.
You can still do it.
Yeah, of course.
until it's physically impossible, of course.
Yeah.
Anybody that's really followed the band over a long period of time, I think we're all very, very grateful for that.
Yeah.
For that, it gives us a sense of purpose as well. So
Especially
yes, thank you to everybody.
As I say, about people come from all over the place. They come and say we've come to see you. That gives you, like, it cheers you up. You feel a lot better. It's great. You think it's worthwhile.
So you're ready for tomorrow?
No.
Yeah.